Hi everyone, this is Tapiwa, your host of the Medical Missionary podcast. And each episode, we're going to have a different guest sharing their experience of medical missionary work. So I want to introduce my guest this week. I'll let her introduce who she is, how old she is, and where she's from.
Hi everyone, my name is Millen Gelilang. I'm 23 years old and I'm from Loma Linda, California.
Okay, so Millen, you are from California, you're 23 years old, and you are involved in medical missionary work. Tell us a little bit of your background first of all before you go into how you got involved in this work.
Yeah, so right after high school, I decided to go to Wildwood Health Institute. My sister went there before I did, so she's the one who was talking to me about Wildwood because when she was a student there. And from there, 2018 to 2020, I was at Wildwood doing the health evangelism course and did the advanced course as well. And after Wildwood, went to a few Adventist universities. Then I did a long-term mission trip in El Salvador from the training I did.
Okay, so this place, Wildwood Health Institute, is actually a training school. There's a lifestyle center, the store and the farm, but it's a training school that trains up medical missionaries. So what does this training involve? You mentioned your sister went there, that kind of inspired you to get involved. But what is this training and why should a young person be interested in something like this?
Well, the training that they have there is they have massage therapy, hydrotherapy, but also along the lines, so those are health classes, but they also have spiritual classes like Daniel and Revelation, Christian living class, Christian relationship class, and also education or learning about the true education for us believers. And but as also when I went there, it's a different perspective about the Christian life because for me, when I was young, I really was, interested in social media and all these things. But going to the Wildwood Health Institute, it really taught me a lot about what God has called us to do and what Christian life that we should live.
Okay, wait, so you were saying then that the Christian life, so is it not just the case of, okay, fine, I give my life to Christ and I come to church every week and that's it? You're saying there's more to it?
Oh yeah, definitely. There's way more to it. Definitely we need to live up to what God has called us to do. And so what I mean by that is what you live day to day is that's what shows, or what you work also, what your life work is.
Okay, so my question was, there are a lot of people out there who will say, yeah, but good for you, but I don't see how this is gonna help me. So can you share some highlights or defining moments from your journey so far as a medical missionary, whether it's during your training, we'll talk a little about after your training, but is this something specific that helped you, maybe your relationship with God, maybe your relationship with others during your training? So maybe if also you can share with us what does the training look like day to day? For example, if someone says, okay, maybe I want to try that out.
Me, going into Wildwood, I came from just going to public school my whole life basically until I came to Wildwood, and it really opened me up to what I believe as an Adventist, because I also come from a nominal family, so they are not very serious about, they didn't teach me as a young child when I was growing up that there's so much more to what we believe in the Adventist truth. So when I went to this mission school in Wildwood, really opened me up to what Ellen G. White talks about true education, why it's so important to take care of your health as well, from the New Start, nutrition, exercise, water, sunshine, the temperance, air, rest, and trusting in God. And as well, it really opened me up to the therapies, hydrotherapy and massage therapy. I was really curious about how can just for example, with hydrotherapy, water can be so healing, and the different types of water, and how massage also ties into that as well. And it really also helped me as well to use that as well in the mission field, because out there, a lot of people don't know about God's healing way. And if it's just these simple things, people are so amazed how much this healing message can be so simple. And
Okay, so what I get from you there is the fact that God actually cares more also about our physical health, because you mentioned there about how, it's like a healing message.
Mm-hmm.
And which is very interesting, because most people only think that God cares about their spiritual well-being alone.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're bringing in the aspect of physical health, and by default also mental health will be so important as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been to some interesting places. So tell us what you saw on your mission fields, and kind of like how does the medical missionary work and then the gospel message, how do those two things work together or tie in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when I was out in El Salvador, I was helping out doing pioneer work, because this is the first Adventist lifestyle center out there. And it was very interesting to see how many people come with not just their physical health, but they're also craving to know God, and as well with their mental health. So you can see when they come in, they've gone through so many things in their life, and you can see mostly it's older folk come to our lifestyle center, but they've gone through so much things in their life that they're just really, I would say, beat up by all the things they've gone through, and that's why it would lead to them getting sick as well, would affect their physical health. So this is them having their mental health affected, and a lot of them are also non-believers. They just want to be healed, and they trust us to help them out, because they hear also that we're doing natural remedies, and through that, doing natural remedies, hydrotherapy, the massage therapy, and as well with doing digestive walks with them. It was intense at digestive walks with them, because they would do an hour after eating each meal. Well, actually breakfast and lunch, and as well with eating just plant-based meals and in the lifestyle center. And so a lot of the times they also see us doing morning devotionals. We include God, we pray with them, and when they're non-believers, they see and feel the difference, and that's when we reach to them the gospel. They ask us questions. So, who are you guys really? Who do you believe in? They're so amazed by just how much prayer and doing these simple remedies can make a huge impact. Then what they've been through as well with taking so much medication, going through so much doctors and appointments, then finding no cure, and coming to this place to see, wow, this is just simple, and I can feel the huge impact and huge difference that it's impacting in my body. And so I was so amazed to share with them when they're open to hear as well God's message.
You mentioned you've been to El Salvador, and where else have you been?
Yeah, I've also been to India with Wildwood, and before I went to Wildwood, I also went to the Philippines.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So, what do you enjoy most about being a missionary, about medical missionary work, and about just living life for God as a young person?
Well, as a young person, I would say that it's very interesting to hear people tell me, oh wow, how old are you? And then I tell them, oh, I'm 23, and when did you start this work? When I was about 18 years old. And they would say, wow, and I'm 50, 60, and 70, 80 years old, and I'm just finding out this message. What an inspiration. And I just say praise God, because I wish I knew this message sooner when I was, ever since I was a kid. But really, it's whenever God reaches any voice or anyone, and He has His own time, right? So, but what I really enjoy most is that to see the small changes in someone's life when they tell me, oh yeah, so now for example, with patients, they're like, after they leave the lifestyle center, yeah, so now I continue being plant-based, I continue going on digestive walks, I continue doing hydrotherapy, massage, and all these natural remedies. And I say, wow, you're still continuing, because I'm a little bit worried. Are they going to continue when they leave from this place? Are they going to continue with the lifestyle that they've seen the change in this place? And they still continue it. And even with the students too, because I was working with with Light. It's also a health evangelism course, and they also go to different lifestyle centers, and they help teach with learning medical missionary work. And so, yeah, I've taught with India, and then also in El Salvador, and I still keep in touch with some of the students, and they say, yes, I do continue this work, and it's also conversation starter. So I just love when I see people growing and sharing and being a witness to others, and just being a part of that. And even if I wasn't their teacher in any way, I would have just loved them talking about this.
Wow, praise God. So it's amazing because, yeah, like you're saying, you're only 23, and yet you have so many experiences that God has taken you through. And maybe lastly, the thing that I would ask you then is there anything else that you want to share? Or if you are speaking to fellow young people, what would you say to them, especially people that are saying, look, okay, I've grown up in church, but it just seems like it's boring, there's nothing there for me? What would you say to that individual, or what encouragement would you give to young people? Because right now, a lot of young people, honestly, they're just saying like, there's nothing in God for them.
Well, I know from the book of Education, Ellen White talks about that there's always something to do in God's work with God's children. And so it's not just medical missionary work. There's media ministries, there's gardening, and I know there's so much more. So there's always some place that we can do for God. And really, it all starts with praying about it, praying on God, what's God's will, seeing your strengths and weaknesses. I would honestly say to try every medical missionary or other training, health training or Bible work training, canvassing, to try all of those and see where your strengths and weaknesses. And even if you don't think you would do that kind of ministry or do that type of training again, to just try it out once, and you will see where your strengths and weaknesses and what you don't like and do like, and just to see what you see that you have a joy in. Where is your joy in working for the Lord? And for me, I loved doing massage therapy in the lifestyle center in El Salvador, and even here when I was here in Wildwood, because even I could have a 12-hour work day, and if someone told me, hey, can I have a massage, Millen? Or if my boss told me, hey, can you give a massage to this person? I'm willing to do it, and I'm excited to do it. It's just, for me, it's like an exercise, and I love to exercise. And so, and that you can see when you help the person, does it bring them joy? Did God use you to help them that day? And that's what you can find your purpose in, is helping people. And so how does that ministry help that person, God's people, and especially bringing God's children to His kingdom? Because that's our ultimate goal, is heaven. And one life lesson I would also say to young people and anyone who's listening out there, I want to share this really inspiring. For me, it was really life-changing, because when I was in El Salvador, so you have to heat up a big body of water if you want to use hot water for your treatments. And when they saw that I was the only one who didn't know how to start a fire, coming from a city, coming from growing up in the city, I mean, and so I'm a city girl, and when they told me make a fire, Millen, can you? And I'm like, oh, you're gonna have to show me how to do that. And then they're like, yeah, okay, so it's easy. You just have to put the big sticks there and put little sticks just to start it, and yeah. Like I was like, oh, okay, let me just do that. And then it's really, for me, it's really hard to keep the fire going as well. And just to start the fire, it can be easy because we have lighters there, so we just light like one leaf and then put it in the flame, and then make sure there's other sticks around it as well. But then when I would just leave the fire so I can let the water boil, I would come back and then the fire is gone. And I say, oh man, I have to start it again. And I remember one time it took me like 2 hours just to heat up a big body of water. So I thought about this a lot, and as I got to do it, I was like, wow, God is teaching me something here. And so that's like our Christian life. Like it can be so easy to go be excited and go on mission trips, and that's when like the fire starts. Especially when I became more serious about God, I was like, yeah, I want to go on mission trips, I want to do all these things for God, and I felt like that was my fire burning. But how do you keep that fire burning? How do you keep your life consistent with God? And not just I was far away from God, I'm so close to God now, I'm doing all these things, and you want to keep that life consistent. And so doing this is what do you call it, not all doing all these things for God, it's also nothing without having a personal relationship with God. So definitely to have that consistent lifestyle and to have that real connection with God is to keep it your personal devotions, keep your personal relationship with God a priority first before doing all these amazing things for God, because that's how it starts. That's how you keep the fire going.
Wow. I love the illustration at the end there. And again, there is more to it that we're being called to. And I hope that you've been inspired. I hope that, if you're thinking about, hey, look, I want to see what medical missionary work is. In fact, there is a statement in Testimonies, Volume 7, page 62, which says, we have come to a time when every member of the church should take hold of medical missionary work. So it's not just people like Millen who are called to be medical missionaries, but everybody. And what an amazing thing to know as a young person or an older person that you are making an impact for eternity, that you are touching lives in a way that will bring honor and glory to the Master. And so, as always, the goal is always the soul, and God is calling us to cooperate with Him to repopulate heaven. So I want to thank Millen for being with us, for sharing and taking her time to share with us the blessings that she received. And until the next episode, friends, stay faithful.